Alright. It's time to do a new video. In light of the merry-go-round, which has been going on for 14 years straight, literally going round and round and round and stopping out different subjects on a daily basis, and I would venture to guess the total amount of different subjects is not much more than 5 subjects in total, and the target or the station of the merry-go-round today or over the last couple of days has been that I, Stephen Bell, am supposedly the most prolific sex criminal Denmark and the world has ever seen. I am Jeffrey Epstein incarnated, and of course I'm committing rapes and sodomy and just pillaging villages on a daily basis, just running around, just raping people everywhere. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm committing sex crimes like you couldn't believe. And every time I'm out shopping or in a supermarket or getting packages from the local store, I'm literally sexually assaulting the person behind the register, and this is because government says so over the program's real-time synthetic telepathy communication system, of course. So yeah, the crazy train has reached its favorite destination again, and it is arbitrarily labeling me guilty for every sex crime known to man that all have taken place, not physically but in some kind of mental virtual reality form that are supposed to supersede actual reality, because that's what government says, and what government says is what happens to be the truth, or at least that's what we are supposed to believe. So I'm again now being the target of the Danish state and its intelligence agencies' campaigns, and the most indoctrinated segment of the population, which happens to be the elderly and young teenagers, I would venture to guess. They're all pretty much being used as de facto proxies for the intelligence agency PET, the fucking disgusting pigs here in Denmark, that are using the same synthetic telepathy communication system to run these active measures where they use the general public, and especially this segment of people from the public, as their go-to proxies. So I have old people literally staring me down like some mad dog, and even though they are so old and fragile, a stiff breeze could knock them over, and yet they are fronting as if they wanted to fight with me. And young teenagers are kind of in the same level of indoctrination as the elderly. And obviously it's the never-ending propaganda and the constant psyops that are being broadcasted to the people that get people to be indoctrinated and get people to have the beliefs that they are having. So these people literally believe that I'm just running around raping and pillaging people on a daily basis, and I have done so all my life. You know why? Because government says so, and government says they have evidence in the form of witness accounts, but yet these witnesses that they supposedly have are not being used in any kind of legal sense. They are these so-called witnesses they say they have do not exist in any kind of paperwork. It's literally just make-believe. We say something and therefore it is, but if you FOIA request all the relevant police authorities and the prosecutor's office, which I have obviously done all of the years the program has been going on, I have been showing consistently evidence that disprove these bogus and false lies that are endlessly spewed by a conglomerate of governments and states to justify the persecution of me, Stephen Bell. And the persecution of me, Stephen Bell, is being used as the pretext for having this global social engineering and intelligence operation running, from which government are achieving all of these goals. If you go back in time when the program started in 2008, and you imagine that if you imagine all the things that have been implemented from 2008 to 2022, imagine all of the active measures, all the illegal activities, extrajudicial means and methods that are being used today and accepted by huge portions of the population. Imagine that being the case in 2008 when the program started. They would never even dream of doing the things now back in 2008, because they simply couldn't get away with it. But here in 2022, where they have indoctrinated the people to go along with whatever government implements, well, it's a completely different ball game. So ostracizing and targeting people like me and other people who speak the truth and other people who speak out on any given subject matter of any importance, it has become normal to be censored, to be targeted, to be ostracized, to be labeled some kind of extremist, or even a threat to national security or the people. And that's exactly the intentions and plans behind the program, is to change so-called democratic countries that live by the rule of law and respected human rights to at least to some degree, to completely abolish these things and implement a completely authoritarian rule, which is governed by dictates and completely arbitrary in a completely arbitrary way that is being, as we can see today here in 2022 August. And yeah, so I'm behind enemy lines, literally, and I'm having the government try to set me up in multiple ways and constantly using the members of the public to run their active measures against me. So I'm ready for anything, and I actually hope that something happens, so some case materializes from the active measures that are being run against me illegally.